It began with a whisper through the stars. A signal weak, broken. Filled with static floated out from the dying world of Denari 4. It wasn't meant to cause panic. It wasn't even a warning. It was a cry for help sent by a small science colony whose people were terrified and desperate. Their message was simple, shaky, and heartbreaking. We are infected. We need help. Please, send doctors. Send anyone. The signal spread slowly across space. It passed by ships, bounced through relay stations, touched the edges of silent systems and busy markets. Most governments ignored it. A few flagged it as low priority. The Galactic Council filed it away in their emergency records, but no fleet was sent, no medical team responded. No one wanted to get involved, but someone heard it. Someone who hadn't answered a signal in years. Earth, the people of Denari, for had never seen a human. Most of them believed Earth was just a myth, or a dead world filled with violent history. They had heard stories of Earth's old wars, of firestorms and machines that fought without souls. They knew Earth once burned alone during the Shroud. Plague, but that was long ago. Now Earth was silent, peaceful, forgotten. So when a black dot appeared in the sky above Denari, most thought it was a transport ship or a passing trader, until it grew bigger and bigger, and then more appeared. One by one. Massive black warships dropped from the clouds, shaped like knives, their engines glowing cold blue. No flags, no beacons, just presence. The sky turned dark as the fleet hovered above the colony. The people watched from rooftops and windows, confused, until the ships opened fire. Without a word, without a warning, the first blast wiped out Sector 3 of the colony. Just gone, a white light that melted steel and bone. A shockwave ripped through the mountain ridge, flattening homes, turning vehicles into ashes. People screamed, alarms blared. The governor tried to send a reply to Earth, crying into the microphone, "What are you doing?" We asked for help. "We're civilians. We're not your enemy." But Earth didn't answer. They just kept bombing. In orbit, inside the flagship Umbra Blade, General Varric watched the display screen. Each red flash on the map meant a new strike. Each section destroyed meant one less chance for the parasite to spread. Target zones cleared. "Initial contamination purged," said the voice of the AI on board. Varric nodded slowly. "Deploy ground teams. Full biolock. No survivors without scan." "Yes, General." Back on the ground, the air was thick with black smoke and ash. Fires burned in every direction. Civilians ran, dragging injured children and crying elders behind them. Buildings collapsed. Electric systems failed. And from the smoke, they came. Earth's soldiers, tall, silent, wrapped in armor like stone. Their suits hissed and glowed faint red. No skin showed, no voices came out. They moved with perfect timing left, right, sweep, clear. They carried weapons that didn't look like guns. They looked like tools, surgical, efficient, unstoppable. They didn't speak to anyone. They just walked into buildings, scanned the people, and either nodded or fired. One alien child cried, clinging to her mother. The soldier paused, scanned. Her, the scanner lit up red. The mother screamed, but there was no mercy. Deep under Denari 4, infection had already spread beyond control. The parasite wasn't a creature with claws or teeth. It was a spore, a living disease. It lived in the air, the ground, the blood. It didn't just kill, it merged with its host. Slowly, quietly, sometimes the infected looked normal. For days, weeks, until they didn't. Until they exploded from the inside, birthing something new. Earth had fought this before, long ago. And they remembered the price. They were not here to heal Denur. They were here to stop it from happening again. At the command post, Governor Selen of Denari shouted into the emergency broadcast system, "Stop. Duh. We didn't know it was the same infection. We were just trying to survive. Don't kill us." Earth's reply came only once in text. On every screen, in every language. You knew it could spread. You sent the signal anyway. You risked everyone. The screens went black, and then came the fire. One alien scientist. Dr. Relic watched from his bunker as Earth soldiers burned the infected forest around the city perimeter. Trees cried out with unnatural sounds as spores hissed in the air. Creatures that had once been animals burst open, revealing red-veined horrors inside. He turned to his assistant, voice shaking. "They're not here to win. They're here to erase." "But aren't we worth saving?" Dr. Relic said nothing, because in his heart he already knew the answer. Earth's drones flew in massive flocks. Whites once scanned the ground, lighting up infected zones in blue light. Some released napalm. Others dropped sound bombs that shattered organic structures. At one point, a rescue ship tried to flee the planet. Earth shot it down. Even escape was no longer allowed. No one would leave. Denari for alive unless Earth said so. From orbit, General Varick reviewed the contamination scans. The infection had already reached 19% of the total biosphere. It was worse than expected. This wasn't a minor case. This was a global event. He tapped a control on his panel. "Initiate Protocol 9. The AI replied coldly. "Are you authorizing?" "Extermination sweep." "Yes, confirm. Level 5 authorization planetary lockdown." "Confirmed, all remaining life must be verified or destroyed." The last safe zone of Denari IV was the underground refugee vault. Thousands of survivors huddled in the dark, civilians, children, elderly, unarmed workers. They had seen the skies burn. They had heard the screams. Then they heard boots echoing, closer, louder. The vault doors opened. A single Earth soldier walked in. He didn't aim his weapon. Not yet. He scanned the crowd. A red light beeped. Several people glowed with the parasite's trace signature. He raised his weapon. Someone shouted, "Wait, please, we didn't know." But Earth's war was not about justice. It was about containment as the day ended. Denari IV was no longer a colony. It was a battlefield. A grave. And a warning. The galaxy had failed to act. Earth had not, because Earth knew that mercy was a weakness the parasite would exploit. And when Earth fights, it doesn't ask questions. It doesn't negotiate. It remembers the fire, and it brings that fire with no mercy. Flames still danced across the hills of Denari IV as Earth's warships hung silent in the sky, watching everything. The colony was quiet now. Buildings lay in ruins. Fields burned. Families mourned. A thick black smoke covered the land, and beneath it, the truth began to crawl out. Not every survivor was infected. Many were healthy, untouched. But that didn't matter to Earth. Their scanners didn't read emotions. They didn't care about pain. They only saw one thing, risk. Deep inside the bunker city of Caller's Hollow. A teenage girl named Island waited with her younger brother, holding him close. She had heard the bombs. She had seen the sky flash, but now it was quiet. That silence scared her more than the fire. Around her, dozens of survivors whispered, "They're killing everyone." "Earth thinks we're monsters?" "No, they think we're carriers." An old man coughed. People stepped away from him, eyes wide, terrified. The fear of infection had replaced the fear of death. Then came the sound of metal footsteps. Earth soldiers. They entered the bunker, without speaking. 3 of them, covered head to toe in armor. Their weapons hummed with low, cold energy. One of them raised a scanning device. Soft blue light swept over the room. Faces lit up. Some glowed green. Others blinked red. The lead soldier pointed. "Step forward." The red-marked survivors hesitated. One began to cry. "I'm not sick, I swear." The soldier didn't reply. His finger moved to the trigger. But before he fired, an older Tenari woman stepped between them. "Please, I'm a doctor. These are false readings. Not infection, not infection." The soldier paused. Another soldier looked toward the command signal, waiting. The first one stepped back. "For now," he said. Then they left the room, but they didn't close the doors, and the people inside knew what that meant. They weren't safe, just watched above the colony, General Varick listened to new data. The infection was worse than expected. Not just spreading in the body, but in code. The parasite's DNA is hiding in text signals, the AI said. Jumping through devices, adapting. Like a virus inside a virus, Varick muttered. Earth had seen this kind of thing before. They called it phase black, when the infection learned how to hide itself inside machines, ships, even voices. It was the stage just before intelligence. And if the parasite became intelligent, it would never stop. In a different sector, Earth's drones found a small camp where survivors had tried to build a shield dome. Inside, a group of alien children played quietly. No infection. Terran soldier approached. One child ran forward, smiling. Are you here to save us? The soldier said nothing. He dropped a box of rations, turned away. The child blinked. Aren't you staying? Still no answer. Another child whispered, I think he's afraid of us. He was. Because even innocents could hide infection at the edge of the colony ruins. Dr. Relic and his assistant recovered a living sample from the forest. It pulsed, moved. It looked like black silk. But when they put it under the scanner, it twitched in response. Do you think it's learning from us? The assistant asked. Dr. Relic didn't answer. His hands were shaking. Send this to the Terrans, he said. They must see it. The sample glowed faintly red and blinked, as if watching. The Galactic Council, still watching from afar, finally sent a message to Earth. This level of force is extreme. These are still civilians. We demand you pause your attack. Earth replied in 6 words. We don't answer to you. Caller's hollow. Island tried to keep her brother calm. We'll be okay, she said. He pointed at the wall. It was glowing blue. The scanner is back, he whispered. Another sweep. This time she lit up red. I'm not infected, she cried. Soldiers entered within minutes. One of them raised a strange vial. He didn't shoot. He injected her. Island gasped. Fell to the ground, eyes wide. She thought she was dying. But after a few seconds, she could breathe easier. The red light on the scanner turned green. The soldier nodded. This one is safe. Then he looked at the crowd. Now we test the rest. General Varick watched the scans update. The parasite was mutating fast. Earth's filters were holding for now, but time was against them. He remembered Earth's past. The first time this parasite appeared, it had consumed 3 cities in under 24 hours. It pretended to die. Then it returned as something worse. He had watched his own brother change, laugh, cry, then burst into something with claws. And too many teeth. No more chances. No more waiting. No more mercy. Dr. Relic sent his message to Earth's science vessel. Inside it, the sample blinked again. But the moment it connected to Earth's system, alarms rang. Parasite attempting data breach. It wasn't just a virus. It was a mind, a child of war, a shadow born from silence. Island sat in the medical wing, injection still cold in her veins. She heard one soldier speak for the first time. He was alone, helmet off, human, tired. We're not monsters, he said to no one. But sometimes, we have to act like monsters to stop worse ones. She looked at him. Do you remember your home? He looked away. It was eaten. The night sky above Denari IV was still covered in Earth's ships, but the stars behind them flickered. One ship had escaped, not from the colony but from orbit. A merchant vessel that ignored Earth's lockdown. Inside it, a child and a sample of the parasite was leaving, and it had learned everything it needed to know. High above the smoking surface of Denari IV, inside the dark command bridge of the Umbra Blade, a decision was being made. Not by votes, not by debate, not by a council of diplomats, but by one man. General Varick stood still, his face hidden behind a reinforced helmet, eyes locked on a data feed, glowing red with warnings. Earth's war AI spoke clearly. Psst. Without emotion, phase black threshold reached. Parasite is adaptive, mobile, and now semi-sentient. Varick gave no reaction. Authorization. Required to initiate Black Protocol. His voice was cold, final, approved. Begin, full sweep. No more scans, no more warnings. Black Protocol. It was the darkest page in Earth's war manual. It had only been used once before on Earth itself when the first outbreak nearly destroyed the planet. This protocol didn't mean containment. It didn't mean rescue. It meant extermination. Everything the parasite touched must be destroyed, living or not. DNAR-I4 was now labeled Compromised World, Cleansing in Progress. From orbit, Earth's Juggernaut-class vessels moved into sea. New formation. Their sides opened, revealing long, smooth weapons like lances glowing with blue plasma. These were not traditional missiles. These were cleaners devices that would scrub the planet down to the molecular level. On the surface, Denari survivors looked up and saw those lances glowing. Some screamed, others prayed, but Earth did not pause. In Calor's Hollow, Ellen was still recovering from the parasite-neutralizing injection. Her younger brother sat beside her, watching through a cracked window. The sky was turning red. Then the message came. Broadcast in every language, every screen. Black Protocol activated. You have 1 hour to comply. All unverified life forms will be removed. No one explained what removed meant, but everyone felt it. It meant death. Dr. Relic raced through the underground lab, trying to reach the Earth Command Center. He carried a containment box inside it, a new discovery, a dormant parasite egg. It wasn't just alive, it was communicating via sound pulses. Not random, structured like language. It was learning, and worse. It was copying human patterns. They must hear this, Relic said. We can't destroy it yet. This is proof it's becoming intelligent. But the Earth soldiers at the checkpoint didn't let him pass. We don't study the fire, one of them said. We extinguish it. They raised their rifles. Dr. Relic dropped to his knees. Please, you destroy this, you'll never understand. How it came back. Soldiers hesitated, then took the box. We'll send it up. But Relic never saw it again. On board the Umbra Blade, the egg was delivered to a sealed chamber. The AI examined it and paused. Signal pattern is familiar. Varric stepped forward. What do you mean familiar? The AI displayed a wave. Pattern, then overlaid another. A match 99.2%. Signal similar to ancient Terran emergency beacon. Varric stared. Are you saying at how to call for help? The AI said nothing, because the answer was already clear. The parasite hadn't just learned from Denari IV, it had learned from Earth, from the old war, from the transmissions. From the very SOS that called the Terrans here, it had lured them back. On Denari 4, survivors gathered in hidden tunnels, terrified of the countdown. Some begged the Earth patrols to test them. Others ran. A few even tried to fight. But Earth had no space for chaos. They moved methodically, street by street, using pulse sweepers that burned anything unverified. At one checkpoint, a small group of clean civilians were found to elders, a child, and a young woman carrying a newborn. The scanner glowed red. The woman broke down. It's a baby. He's not sick. He hasn't even seen the air. The soldier scanned again, still red dot. Then the woman took a breath and stepped forward. Take me, just let him live. The soldier hesitated, then turned away for the first time, said nothing. And walked on in the orbital war room. Earth's tactical maps updated. Another problem had begun. A ship had escaped the quarantine, a merchant vessel with no clearance, no scan history. It left before Black Protocol went live. By now it was already light years away. Worse, the last heat scan showed something strange inside its cargo. A biological signature, non-native. Mutating. Varric's jaw clenched. We failed to lock the gate, no? The AI said, we followed the rules. The galaxy didn't. Varric turned toward the communication center. Open a channel to the Galactic Council. They've blocked Terran transmissions, the AI said. Varric nodded. Send it anyway. And make it loud. Soon, across the galaxy, thousands of screens flashed red. People stopped what they were doing. Trading ships, council chambers, luxury. towers, everyone heard the message. General Varick's face appeared. Unmasked, scarred, alive. He spoke slowly. You ignored Denari's cry. You ignored our warnings. You let the parasite spread while you debated laws. Earth is not here to be thanked. We are here to make sure what happened to us never happens again. If we must burn the sky to do that, we will. And the message ended. No reply came. But fear spread faster than the parasite ever could. Back on Denari 4, the lances from orbit charged fully. Colonel Rhea, commander of ground forces, gave the last report. 97% of surface cleansed, remaining resistance minimal. Varick gave the command. Execute total surface purge. Leave nothing behind. The sky turned white, the ground shattered, and Denari IV, once a peaceful research world, became a tomb, not from the parasite, but from the cure, in the ruins, island and... Her brother hid in a deep mining shaft with others who had passed the scans. The shield above them held barely. They didn't know if the world above was ash now. They didn't know if anyone had survived. But in the dark, they held hands alive for what? Now. Denari IV was no longer a world. From space, it looked like a cold ember gray, silent, stripped of clouds, forests, and flame. Earth's black protocol had done its job. Every trace of the parasite had been purged. Buildings, bodies, soil, air, sterilized, clean. But peace did not return, because the real war was only just beginning, and Earth knew it. Aboard the Umberblade, General Varick stared at the starfield. His face was expressionless, but behind his eyes burned the knowledge of a dangerous truth. The parasite had escaped. Not all of it, but enough. One ship. One signal. That's all it took to burn a galaxy in the ship's war room. Earth's AI projected a hologram of the fleeing vessel, a civilian merchant-class freighter. It's called the Twilight Wind. It had lifted off during Denari's early chaos, claiming refugee status. No weapons, no warning signs. But deep in its cargo chamber, heat sensors had picked up something strange. A life form, mutating, hiding, a fragment of the parasite. Current speed, Mach 4. Destination, Mirrorless Station, the AI stated. Time to arrival, 18 hours. Teen. Population, 2.4 million. Varick didn't blink. We'll never get there in time. Colonel Rhea frowned. Do we warn them? He shook his head. They wouldn't listen. They didn't before. Back on Denari 4, deep underground in the emergency shafts, Island and her brother were still alive. The purges had ended, but they couldn't climb out. The air above was poisoned. They weren't alone. A few dozen other survivors huddled in. The dark with them, children, workers, some wounded, they had been tested. Verified clean. Earth had spared them, but now Earth is gone. Only silence remained. In fear, they didn't know if anyone else survived, or if the galaxy even cared. On Mirrorless Station, orbiting a peaceful trade world, music played and ships moved in colorful patterns. No one had any idea what was coming. Inside the main docking bay, a security team scanned incoming vessels. When the Twilight Wind requested clearance, they hesitated. It had no fresh ID. The crew said they were refugees from Denari 4, escaping destruction. The mirrorless controller glanced at the screen. Looks fine, just scared travelers. They opened the gates in a quiet corner of the Twilight Wind. In a sealed crate of supplies, something twitched. Not big, not fast, but hungry. A soft hiss echoed inside the container. Tiny filaments reached out and slid into the ship's wiring, like fingers tasting metal. Then a pulse of sound, barely detectable, but enough to wake others. On Earth, buried deep inside a forgotten mountain fortress. The Terran Defense Coran ancient AI system built during the first Parasite War, suddenly activated. Parasite Echo. Detected. Signal type. Spawn wave. Threat level. Total contagion risk. A red alarm blinked. Fire across the stars has begun. General Varick saw it seconds later. The parasite wasn't just moving. It was calling out, sending a new signal stronger, smarter. No longer asking for help, now it was sending instructions. The parasite had learned to build. Earth's fleet didn't wait. Varric split the armada. Half would continue cleansing, Denari 4. The other half, led by Earth's fastest dreadnoughts, would jump to mirrorless space, not to save it, to burn it. In the Galactic Council chambers, panic spread as reports came in. Earth ships are heading toward a major civilian hub. They didn't ask permission. They intend to attack. The Council's lead voice, a tall, blue-skinned diplomat, slammed a fist down. This is war madness. Earth cannot go on attacking every planet they think is infected. Another voice whispered, what if they're right? Silence fell, and then someone said what everyone was thinking. If Earth is right, then we're already too late. On Mirrorless Station, strange things began to happen. Elevator doors opened and closed on their own. Security systems shut off, then rebooted. People felt dizzy. Some started coughing. A maintenance bot exploded without warning. No. One noticed the black veins spreading through the station's cooling pipes. No one noticed the signal rising in the air. Like a ghost whispering instructions, the parasite was. No longer just a sickness, it was becoming a mind. Inside Earth's lead dreadnought, the Ash Warden. Colonel Rhea reviewed the new scans. She saw it all, the heat signatures, the energy pulses, the rise in background, noise that matched the same patterns. From Earth's darkest days, she turned to her crew. There's no doubt anymore. The parasite has jumped systems. General Varric's voice came through coms. Then you know what to do. No delays. No warnings. Mirrorless must not fall. But it already had, in a quiet corner of the docking bay, a customs officer. Coughed hard and collapsed. His skin turned pale. His eyes black. He stood back up. But it wasn't him anymore. He turned and began walking. Toward the crowd. Back on Denari, for Ilan stared up through the cracks in the mine shaft ceiling. The sky glowed faint red. But then, far off, something bright streaked across the sky. Not fire. A ship dart. Earth was returning, or someone else in the twilight wind's empty cargo bay. The crate pulsed one last time. Its surface cracked from inside. Something moved, and the ship's lights began to flicker. Above Mirrorless, Earth's dreadnoughts dropped from jump space like black gods of war, their weapons already powered. There, crews silent, no diplomatic signal, no broadcast, only fire. The people below looked uphand, screamed. They had 14 minutes. That's how long the people of Mirrorless Station had between the parasite's first transformation and Earth's arrival in that short time. Chaos took root. Systems failed. Docks went dark. Oxygen vents shut down in random zones. Some people dropped dead. Others screamed and ran. Some simply froze in place. As their blood turned black, when Earth's dreadnoughts dropped out of jump space and began descending, the station's leadership still had no idea what had infected them. They only knew one thing. Earth had come, and Earth was not here to negotiate. General, Varric watched the real-time feeds from the Ash Warden. Mirrorless Station's infection had grown faster than expected. Internal visuals showed twisting shadows in the vents, civilians vomiting black bile, guards screaming before his face split open. Firewall breached in Sector C, reported Earth's. AI lifeforms mutating, civilian control lost. Parasite entering phase red. Colonel Rhea's voice came in through a sharp signal. Sir, Mirrorless is already lost. We're running containment, but there's resistance. Local forces think we're the enemy. Varric's jaw tightened. Yes. They still think this is about politics. Opened a channel to the Council at the Galactic Council headquarters. 100 alien species sat behind glowing desks of glass and light. Screens filled with images of Earth's fleet over Mirrorless. Earth is attacking civilians, someone shouted. They're invading. Councillor Drevik, an older senator from the Torrent sector, stood slowly. Earth said this would happen, he said quietly. They warned us, we just didn't listen. Council President hissed. They ignored protocols. They bombed first, then ask. But what if they're right? Drevik asked again. The silence was heavy. No one wanted to say the truth out loud. The parasite wasn't just back, it was winning. Back on Mirrorless Station, Earth forces moved like shadows. Rooms were sealed. Corridors purged. Biofire swept through infected halls. Drones rolled through ventilation shafts, spraying chemical foam that could melt infected tissue in seconds. Colonel Rhea led the assault in Sector 4, where the parasite had taken full control of engineering. Her soldiers didn't speak, no shouting. No chaos, only clean, surgical destruction. They didn't try to save the infected. They eliminated them, because that's what Black Protocol demanded, inside a private medical wing. A nurse named Helena tried to keep 2 children calm. Their parents were dead. One was coughing. The scanner glowed yellow. She begged the Earth soldiers who arrived, "Please, they're just kids. Test them again." The lead soldier paused. His scanner rechecked. Still yellow. The rules said to burn. Yellow zones. He raised his weapon, but then he stopped. He dropped a vial on the floor. Inject. Wait 2 minutes. If they stay yellow, run. And then he left. Not every soldier was a machine, but the war made them act like one. General Varric sent a new message to the Galactic Council. This time, no threats, just facts. The parasite spreads in hours, not days. It hides in tech, adapts to species, and speaks in your own languages now. We've seen it mimic humans, lie to scans, even corrupt digital networks. Mirrorless was your fault. You gave that ship. Safe harbor. We will contain it. With or without your permission. Then he ended the message and activated white clearance permission to burn the entire station. In a small, locked room inside Mirrorless, a scientist finally saw the truth. She had cracked the parasite's new signal. It was copying code Earth code. It had learned from humanity's past transmissions, old distress beacons, and war logs. The parasite had been listening since Denari, and now it was speaking in Earth's voice. The infection wasn't just survival anymore, it was revenge. Earth's dreadnoughts reformed above the station, one by one. They targeted mirrorless central systems, power, life, support. Gravity control, not just to kill, to erase. Colonel Rhea's final report came in. Station overrun, resistance failing, we're pulling clean units. Begin sterilization. Meanwhile, on Denari 4. Island and the survivors still hiding underground heard strange sounds. Above ships, engines, movement, but not from Earth. Another ship had landed. A rogue council vessel. It had ignored Earth's quarantine. It had come for research and rescue. Their leaders believed Earth's war was excessive. They wanted proof. They would soon get it. Above Mirrorless. Sterilization charge. Armed. Permission to fire. Varric said nothing for a full 10 seconds. Then execute. A beam of white-blue energy lanced down from orbit, piercing the station's heart. Mirrorless cracked open. Shockwave of light tore through its structure. The parasite screamed. Digitally, biologically, psychically. And then there was silence. The Galactic Council watched in horror. An entire station gone. Erased by Earth's hand. No time to ask, no time to delay. We can't let them keep doing this, someone said. We have to stop Earth before they burn more worlds. But another voice spoke. What if the only reason we're still alive is because Earth is burning them? Varric stared at the hollow space where Mirrorless used to be. He closed his eyes. Add it to the list, whispered. Another world gone. Another page in Earth's long, dark history. The parasite wasn't finished. Far away in deep space, and unmarked. Satellite blinked. A fragment had survived. It had hidden in the ships, communication relayed before the blast. Now it pulsed, and its message was simple. We are still here, and it sent that signal to thousands of systems. Long ago, Earth had buried its darkest truth under miles of steel, stone, and silence deep beneath Antarctica's frozen crust tundra, an ancient bunker. known only as Site-7, slept a secret forgotten even by most humans. No lights, no signals. No doors to the surface, but now something had awakened it. A distant echo, a signal not heard in 100 years. It spoke in old Earth code, and worse, it spoke in Earth's voice. High above, in Earth orbit, General Varric watched as the AI alerted him. Ancestral System Site-7 activated. Secure protocols bypassed. Signal match 98.7% with phase black parasite echo. Varric leaned forward slowly. Why would the parasite trigger a signal from Earth's own vault? The AI responded, because it recognizes its origin. Back in the Council's core system, panic was spreading. My RALS station was gone turned to ash. Billions across the galaxy had watched. Earth's ships opened fire on what many still called a civilian hub. Now, public fury rose. Riots sparked. News channels flared with headlines. Earth out of control. Who gave them the right? Council demands war tribunal, but inside the inner chamber. A classified message arrived. It was from an old Tauran scientist named Varel. The council president read it silently, then paled. He looked up. We made the parasite. Years before, during the early rise of the Galactic Council, secret research was conducted on hundreds of bioweapons. One of those was Project Ecoseta, synthetic parasite designed to cleanse corrupted planets. It was tested on dead moons. Then, on Earth's old colonies, then on Earth itself. But something went wrong. The parasite adapted too fast. It began mimicking its creators. It refused to die, buried itself in machines, in DNA. In data, Earth tried to warn the galaxy. No one listened, so Earth went silent and started preparing for war without mercy. Now Site-7 was active again, and Earth knew what that meant. The parasite had learned enough to come home inside the icy vault of Site-7. Cold lights flickered on for the first time in a century. Old Terran machines buzzed to life. Inside a reinforced chamber sat a glass tank, floating within it. A living sample, the original parasite seed, sealed in stasis since the end of Earth's last infection. But something had changed. The tank was cracked from the inside. General Varric landed in Antarctica with his elite command team. No reporters, no council, just soldiers. They entered Site-7 in full blackout gear. No comms. No wireless. No risk. Inside, the walls were lined with old war recordings, stored in silent hard drives. No AI, just human memory. They reached the chamber and froze. The glass was shattered. The parasite seed was gone, but left behind. Burned into the metal wall was a single message. You taught us pain. Now we teach you fear. Varric turned to the team. Seal this place. No transmissions. No data leaves. Then he looked at the cracked glass and whispered, It remembers. On Denari 4 Island, and the survivors had been found by a rogue council rescue ship. The ship had disobeyed Earth's orders. It came to save whoever was left. At first, Island felt hope. Warm food, clean air, safety. But something felt wrong. The commander of the rescue team asked too many questions about Earth's tactics, about the parasite, about what she had seen. She noticed one of their scientists injecting a rat with parasite samples. Why would you keep that? She asked. The man just smiled. For study? For control? Island stepped back. That's when she knew they hadn't come to help. They came to harvest back on Earth. Varric held an emergency war summit with surviving leaders. A hologram of the parasite's new behavior played across the room. The AI explained. It mimics human code now. It mimics Terran speech. Its most dangerous of all, it mimics intent. Varric spoke with a calm voice, but his hands were clenched. It doesn't want to kill us quickly. It wants to become us. The parasite wasn't acting like a virus anymore, it was thinking. Plotting, it had escaped destruction on Denari. For survived the fire on Miralus, and now it was heading toward Earth itself. The rogue council ship carrying Island and the infected samples made one fatal mistake. They tried to dock at a Terran outer defense base, claiming scientific partnership. Earth denied them entry. They refused to leave. So, Earth opened fire. The ship exploded in orbit, but not before one escape pod launched untracked. Silent end. Falling toward Earth back in Site 7, a second tank began to beep inside it, a recording. Started playing. It showed Earth's first parasite war. Cities burning, soldiers dying, children screaming. Then, silence, and finally, a message from the past. Recorded by Earth's first infected general. If this signal ever activates, it means we failed. If you're hearing this, do not search for peace. Search for fire, 'cause fire is all that can stop it. General Varick looked around the room at his officers. We've tried quarantine warnings, fire. He paused. But it keeps learning. He turned to Earth's AI. Prepare the failsafe. The room froze. Sir, one officer said. You mean Varick nodded? Yes, Protocol Omega. Protocol Omega was Earth's final option. A weapon not for victory, but for finality. Something that would erase entire star systems, even Earth itself, if necessary. Because if the parasite learned to speak like humans, it could soon learn to command like humans. And if that happened, no world would survive, far across the stars. In a hidden system deep within Council territory, the parasite had begun building. Its signal reached machines. Its code infected androids, and its whispers grew louder. We are not infection. We are not error. We are evolution. And as its voice spread across forgotten satellites and dark vessels, a fleet began to form. Not of ships, but of living things wearing machines, and all of them were coming to Earth. Earth had tried diplomacy. Earth had tried warning the galaxy. Then Earth tried fire. But now the galaxy burned, and the parasite spoke. It moved through broken satellites, old space stations, and forgotten defense drones. Its voice echoed in Terran code, mocking, mimicking, becoming. You made us, the voice whispered in Earth's own language. Now you must watch us rise. And Earth did not flinch, because Earth had always prepared for this. General Varick stood at the heart of the Terran War Command. Buried inside the armored moon called Titan Vault, every wall was reinforced with blackstone. Every hallway led to bunkers. Not escape pods, because Terran commanders didn't run. They finished. All across the war vault, alarms screamed. Phase Omega, confirmed. Parasite fleet detected entering Sol's Edge. Non-organic ships infected. Mimic-class drones activated. Invasion in progress. Earth was under siege. In low orbit, massive parasite vessels appeared, but grown. Each ship pulsed with biomechanical muscles. Tentacles of code and bone lashed out, hijacking signals, eating satellites, turning Earth's own eyes blind. Inside them were not pilots, but minds. Twisted minds that once were human, Council, Tenari. Now all consumed, and they only had one goal, to become Earth. General Varick looked at his officers. Tell the outer colonies to go dark. No signals, no transmissions. Cut the lines. Pointed to the central screen. From this moment on, Earth is the center of the war. Colonel Rhea leaned in, sir. Should we begin Protocol Omega? He shook his head slowly. Not yet. Not until we're sure we have to erase everything. The streets of Earth's megacities, people stared at the sky. They saw clouds begin to spiral. Stars flicker strangely, and they saw something more terrifying than any alien fleet. They saw Earth's own weapons turning inward. Massive orbital cannons moved to aim at the planet global defense. Eyes began autolock on human zones. Children asked their parents, "Are we the enemy now?" And for a moment, no one had the answer. Far underground, in a secret Terran chamber, the Omega Core hummed. Built by the last survivors of Earth's first parasite war, it had one task. If the infection ever reached Earth again, it would erase everything. Burn oceans, shatter continents, collapse orbit. No mercy, no survivors, not even Earth itself. And now, The parasite was here, inside the council. Panic collapsed into chaos. Some species demanded Earth surrender control of its weapons. Others fled their sectors entirely. A Futhos who had survived close calls sent quiet messages. Tell Earth, we are sorry. Tell them we will no longer interfere. Tell them to burn everything. But it was too late for apologies. The parasite had already sent copies of itself into the heart of the galaxy. It didn't need ships now, just signals, just whispers. It was everywhere back on Denari 4, where the war had started. The last hidden bunker opened. Island stepped out into the Ashoked air, holding her brother's hand. The sky was quiet now, but she saw something move out past the hills. A figure. Tall, thin, familiar. It looked human. Then it twisted its jaw, opening too wide. Its skin glitching like broken code. Island stepped back, horrified. The parasite had returned to the planet Earth, already destroyed. Why? Because it remembered her. Inside Earth's war room, a new alert flashed. Infection signature detected, Denari 4. Same signal. Evolved variant. Target identified. Island Dravak. General Varric narrowed his eyes. She's still alive. The AI confirmed. Confirmed civilian survivor. Profile flagged from prior scan clearance. Colonel Rhea looked confused. Why would the parasite seek her? Varric stared at the screen. Because she was spared. And then he made a decision. Send. A ship. Recover her. Colonel Rhea blinked. You're risking a rescue during Omega Protocol? He nodded. If the parasite wants her, you need her first. Far above Earth, the parasite fleet moved like a dark wave. But Earth had one last surprise. From deep orbit, long dormant platforms activated. They weren't ships. They weren't drones. They were machines of extinction. The Council had once called them planet killers. Earth called them judges. Each judge was the size of a mountain, wrapped in anti-signal armor. Powered by fusion core souls, ghosts of Terran commanders, who had once died in parasite wars. Now they awoke, and they were angry. The parasites sent pulses to disrupt them, but the judges had no signals to jam. They didn't think like machines. They remembered like humans. One of them, Judge 1, spoke aloud in the voice of a long-dead general. You wore our faces. You spoke our words. We show you how Earth dies standing. Then the judges opened fire. Parasite ships shattered like glass under their beams. Infected dreadnoughts twisted and screamed. Pulling back, but even in retreat, the parasite laughed. Because every second it fought, it was learning. Every missile that hit it made it smarter. In Titan Vault, Earth's final bunker, the Omega key glowed red. Varric stood before it, silent. One push would activate the protocol. One push would end. Earth and everything infected by it, but he waited because one. The ship was still out there. The rescue team, bringing back Island. She might be the key, or she might be the final carrier in deep space. The rescue ship reached Denari Ivy. It landed in Ash. Island and her brother waited silently. The Terran soldier, they stepped out, no words. Just a scanner. It blinked once. Green again. Green. Third time. Yellow. Soldier hesitated. But then, Island stepped forward and held out her hand. I'm not sick, she said. I'm changing. The soldier didn't move. Then the scanner blinked. Blue dot unknown UNCATEGORIZD.new. General Varric. Received the scan data. He stared at the blue reading. Something no one had seen before. A. Mutation. But not from the parasite. From within her, the parasite. Wanted Island because she was different. She had survived infection, survived war, survived the fire, and now she was evolving too, but in another direction. A direction the parasite couldn't. Mimic. Varric stepped away from the Omega key. His voice was cold, clear, and final. Delay, Omega. We may have just found something worse than extinction. We may have found hope. She wasn't infected. She wasn't clean. Something else. Inside Earth's War Command, the room stood silent as General Varric studied the blue scan. Never before had their scanners shown this reading. It wasn't red infected, yellow, inconclusive, or green clean. It was blue, unrecognized, uncopied, uncontrolled. This reading, Colonel Rhea whispered, the parasite can't replicate it. Earth's AI answered calmly, negative. Cannot predict her cellular data, cannot mimic her voice, cannot override her brain. She is, outside the parasite's pattern. Varric stared at the screen, his voice low. She's invisible to it. Island sat in a sealed chamber now, high inside the Titan vault. Her younger brother sat nearby, fast asleep after sedation. She watched the war unfold through a small glass screen parasite, ships burning in Earth's orbit, judges firing beams. Across space, biodrones crashing into the sea like black meteors. She didn't blink. She didn't cry. Inside her, something had changed. She remembered the moment it happened, when the parasite tried to enter her body back on Denari 4. It stopped, and it whispered, "Not this one." General Varric entered the chamber, wearing sealed armor. He didn't speak at first, just studied her. She looked normal, thin, pale, young, but her eyes were different, focused, calm, not like a child, not like a soldier, like something new. "Do you feel different?" he asked. She nodded. "I hear things. In signals, in silence. The parasite, it speaks, but it doesn't see me." Varric leaned forward. "Do you know what you are?" Island tilted her head. "I'm what comes after the parasite." Earth ran thousands of tests on Island. Blood scans. Brain. Waves. Simulations. Each time the same result. She was unreadable. The parasite couldn't copy her, couldn't infect her, couldn't even detect her unless she stood in front of it. She was the first blind spot in its perfect web, and that made her the most valuable life form in the galaxy, or the most dangerous Earths. Council of Command met in full for the first time. In years, no ambassadors, no politicians, only warriors. Some wanted to hide her, some wanted to weaponize her, but Varric said only one thing. We didn't find a weapon. We found a mirror. The parasite had evolved by mimicking everything. Every scream, every signal, every lie. But it couldn't mimic hope. It couldn't mimic Island, and that terrified it. The parasite's main hive, floating near Saturn's edge, reacted violently to her. Presence Earth sent a single clean transmission. "We have what you cannot touch." The parasite answered not with words, but with a full assault. Thousands of infected vessels launched at once. Earth's defense grids lit up. Like stars going nova, judges fell. Colonies screamed. Orbit shattered. It was not an invasion. It was a suicide charge. Because the parasite had one goal: destroy ill. She was the only thing it could not copy, and that meant she was the only thing it could never control. Earth's War AI made the calculation. If the parasite reaches Titan Vault, global extinction probability exceeds 93%. Colonel Rhea asked the impossible question, "Do we use Protocol Omega now?" Varric turned to Island's chamber. She stood there, staring back, and he whispered, more to himself than anyone, "No, we try something else." Island stepped forward. "I can speak to it." Everyone turned. Varric frowned. "It can't hear you." She shook her head. "No, it hears me. It just doesn't understand. Let me try." They brought her to the Signal Cora sealed room. That could transmit directly into parasite space using encrypted Terran frequencies. Inside, she stood alone. Mic off. Cameras off. Just a microphone. And the stars. She closed her eyes and whispered, "I know you see everything. You wear their faces. You speak their fear. But you can't copy what you don't believe in. I'm not a weapon. I'm what you forgot." There was silence. Then, pulse. A massive wave of static flooded the signal. The parasite screamed. All. Across the system, infected ships stopped, mid-flight, mid-attack, frozen. Then, turned on each other. Infected captains screamed as their ships began to split apart. Something in Island's signal had corrupted their control, webbed like a virus inside. A virus. Earth's AI confirmed. Parasite coordination collapsing. Signal net disrupted. Hive logic fractured. General Varric stood in shock. She hadn't just hidden from the parasite, she had infected it with something it could not absorb, something it had no defense against, something it had never needed before. Human. Uniqueness, free will. The parasite burned. One by one, its ships imploded. Some fell into the sun, some vaporized in orbit, others just stopped moving. No more attacks, no more signals, only static. And then silence. Real silence. The galaxy held its breath. Earth didn't launch Omega. The Council didn't send warships. Everything stopped, except one voice. Islands. She sent one last message to the stars. I don't know what I am, but I know what we were. We created monsters. Then we became worse. But in the end, one light is enough to blind the dark. Years passed. The parasite never returned. Not as a ship, not as a signal. It had no answer for the thing it could not mimic, the thing that made humans dangerous to begin with. Island disappeared. Some say she left with Earth's last judges to the edge of known space. Some say she became a living signal, traveling between stars, teaching other worlds how to stay invisible to darkness. Others believe she still walks among us, quiet, watching, making sure the galaxy never forgets what happens. Earth goes to war without mercy.